Guys, what's going on? It's Xpreme G37 here, and today we are going to be taking apart my headlights because there is a whole bunch of liquid inside that I don't want there. Gotta take off the front bumper to get to them. Shouldn't be too much of a pain, but we'll try it out and see how it goes. All right, guys, just to go over a few things before you get started. You're gonna need a 10mm socket to get rid of these 8 bolts holding down the shroud above the radiator. They are here, here, all along the back row, 2 here, and 1 on the side. You're also going to need to remove these clips that are holding your front bumper onto this panel. That you could just use a flathead screwdriver to pop up the heads. The next thing you're gonna need to do is take that 10mm socket and remove the bolts that hold the coolant reservoir. That way you could get this out of the way to remove that shroud. Alright guys, before we continue any further, I just want to go over something really quickly. Now that we got all 8 bolts out of the front shroud and the 2 bolts holding the coolant reservoir, it's really important to stay organized. So we're going to put in the 2 bolts for the coolant reservoir into one baggie, and we are going to put the 8 bolts for the front shroud into another bag with the clips that go with it. Organization is key with a project like this. Alright guys, now that all of the bolts and clips are removed, even on the coolant reservoir, the reason that you need to remove the bolts for the coolant reservoir are because there are 2 little nubs right in here that the front shroud clips onto from the back. So you just gotta use some elbow grease and pull and pry. Okay guys, once you've almost crapped your pants trying to get this thing off, it's almost ready to be removed. So now you can go ahead and remove the bolts that are holding the under shroud to the bottom of the front bumper. There are about, oh god, I don't even know, 7 of these things, something like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 bolts holding the front bumper to your under. Those, and then you could start taking off the bumper. All right, once you've removed all of the bolts holding the undershroud up, I want to start popping off the front bumper. But before that, there are 2 clips holding it in to the fender up top here on both sides. The 10mm bolt, it has a little nub on it. I'll show you what it looks like once I get it off. All right, this is what these little weird thingamajigs look like. They will be on both sides connecting to the front fender on the top here. Now that you got all the clips off, those bolts, the bottom bolts, now you can just start popping off the bumper, starting on the corner. Now give it a little oomph, but be careful not to break any of these clips. These clips are very important if you want it to go back on correctly. If you break one of these clips, your front bumper will not fit. Guaranteed. Alright guys, so for the headlight removal themselves, there are going to be a total of 4 bolts holding in each headlight. So the first one's going to be here on the side. You're going to see 2 of them. It is going to be the top bolt. Do not remove the bottom bolt. It is the top bolt. Next one is going to be right where the screwdriver is going. Right back in there. Third one, pretty easy, self-explanatory. Right on top right here. And there is another one which can be a pain to get to, which is right in here. Boop. All right guys, once you got all the bolts off of the headlight housing, you can now slowly slide out the headlight. But the lens, you do not want to scratch it. And it just slides out like so. You're gonna wanna unplug the master harness. You should probably use a flathead screwdriver to help you push in the little button that's on the wiring harness to remove the clip out like so. Okay guys, one other thing that I didn't mention at the beginning of the video, because I kind of thought it was self-explanatory, you should always disconnect the battery before you do anything like this involving anything electrical in the car, whether it be the headlights or some 12-volt lights that you're adding into the interior. Either way, take off the negative terminal of the battery just to make sure you don't get yourself electrocuted. All right guys, once you got your headlights out, there are gonna be two things that you need to remove from the headlight first, which is this little bracket here, which clips the front bumper to the headlight, to the fenders, to the car. And it's just gonna be two Phillips-Head screws right on both sides. All right, and the next thing that you need to remove is gonna be on the top of the headlight, which is this little clip here. It holds the front part of the headlight to the back part of the headlight, which then also holds it into the front fender. Has 4 small Phillips head screws. And the next thing is there are 6 screws holding the front lens to the back housing of the headlight. They are located around the edges. You'll need to remove those. They are small Phillips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right over here. Go ahead and remove those. And now would be a good time to preheat your oven to 150-ish degrees. There's a bunch of people out on the internet saying that you could use hotter temperatures, but it's always best to start small and gradually get hotter. Reason being is you don't want to mess up your headlights and melt them or melt any of the wiring attached to the headlights. So once the oven is up to temperature, you're gonna wanna just drop in your headlight like so. I have used just a baking pan. If your oven isn't big enough to fit your headlight, like my oven here is currently just big enough for my headlights, so it'll work. But if your oven is not big enough, what you can use is a heat gun. 20 minutes is a good baseline to wait. After 20 minutes, go check the headlights, start peeling apart one of the corners. If it doesn't come apart very easily, then you know it needs to be in there longer for the glue to essentially melt and start separating more. Alright guys, once you take your headlights out of the oven, the best place to start peeling is actually the front corner, all the way up to the back. Now, for you guys, it's not gonna be this easy. I had already pulled it apart before the video. But it's not gonna be the hardest thing in the world either. You just gotta give it a little oomph and some pulling, and the glue will separate. And one thing that you're gonna wanna make sure is that you do not get any of the glue that's around the side into any of the bits on the headlight. Like in the reflector cone here, or the reflector cone up here for the turn signals, or for the, I call it an orb, or on the Space Alien orb. You can pretty much go ahead and do whatever you want from here. If you're gonna add like an LED ring around the center, or if you're gonna take it apart and paint the different pieces. All of that is pretty much self-explanatory. For my orange piece here, there is one Phillips-Head screw that you unscrew, and then this just pops out. Same thing pretty much goes for the other pieces. There's one Phillips-Head screw here, unbolt that, and then it pops out from clips in the back. This little bracket next to the orange orb, there are two Phillips screws, one at the bottom here and one at the top. You just unscrew those and it comes out. And the same thing for this turn signal piece up here. One Phillips head screw down in the corner, and then the whole thing just pops out. Now as far as the lens, so when you take the lens off, it's gonna have part of the housing inside. To remove the housing from the lens, there are gonna be 3 Phillips head screws right in the front corner. So remove each of these screws and remove it from down here first. You also want to make sure that when you're removing it, there are these little tabs, I guess you could say, on the housing of the headlight. You just want to make sure that they're not stuck to the glue on the side of the lens, so just pry them up. Use a screwdriver if you have to get in between and tear the glue up. And then it's pretty easy to get them all back together, which is what I'm going to be doing right now. The best way to get these back together would be to, scrape out the old glue with a screwdriver or other things like that, because you really want to make sure you have a really good seal when you get them back together. Otherwise, they're going to condensate and moisture is going to get inside. So just scrape out the inside glue, and you're going to want to pick up some silicone from your local AutoZone. It's a clear RTV silicone adhesive sealant. Once you get out all of the old adhesive sealant that is from factory, you're going to want to cut off the end and caulk inside the gap here all the way around the headlights. Then what you're going to do is obviously just put the lens back on to the headlight itself. It's really best to give it 24 hours before you take your car back out on the road, drive through puddles and stuff, just to make sure all of the sealant is set. And that's pretty much it. Then you gotta just follow pretty much the same instructions that I gave you guys in the beginning of the video, but in reverse, to get your car back together and have your custom headlights. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you want to see more cool stuff, please hit that like and subscribe. This is my first video for the channel. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, please hit up the comment section below. If there's anything in particular that you guys want to see, let me know. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys soon.